Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Weekly Wisdom. It's Natalia Eileen, founder and CEO of C Network. And every Wednesday at 9 a.m., we bring you diversity, equity, and inclusion tips and strategies specifically meant to help you build a more inclusive workplace culture. And we do so in 10 minutes or less. So today's topic is all about how building community can benefit the bottom line. Now, as a leader, and we're all leaders here, right? Whether we are named leaders or not, as leaders, we need to be thinking about how to build community as often as possible, especially if we do have a specific mandate to lead a team or to lead a department or to lead part of an organization. And I would like to make the case that in building community, we can impact the bottom line of our organizations. And for those of us, especially in for-profit organizations, we can be thinking about how building community is a way to supercharge the impact that our work has in driving revenue and in driving productivity. So I have for you 4 stats related to how building community can benefit the bottom line. And these are stats that I envision people using if ever they need to justify the work of creating and building community within their workplace culture. This is especially something that we need to be thinking about when we have a hybrid work environment or a remote work environment, because we know that if we build community, we can create more productive, more effective teams. And so here are some of those stats. I'm going to walk through 4 of them for you. And the hope is that these are helpful as you think about why it's important to prioritize building community within your workplace. Let's start with the first stat, which comes from the Deloitte Human Capital report from 2021 called Elevating the Workforce Experience, the Belonging Relationship. So here we have, and let me get myself out of the way so you can see the full report title. A sense of belonging can lead to a 75% decrease in sick days. What does that mean and why does that matter? Well, if you are someone who is trying to drive toward building a company and organization that retains talent and that gets the best out of its talent, then you probably don't want anyone experiencing as many sick days as one might. And this is not just because it's nice to make sure that our employees are healthy. It's also because these sick days cost us money and cost us productivity. We know that. Now, this study and this stat is powerful because a 75% decrease in sick days is huge. If we can keep folks in their seats, doing good work, feeling good and healthy more frequently, we're saving money, we're seeing more productivity, and we're working together to build a better world. What about the next one? Another reason why we want to be thinking about community building. And actually, maybe I can draw the lines here a little bit more clearly between community building and this first stat that I shared with you, this sense of belonging and how it can lead to a 75% decrease in sick days. We know that when we build community, we increase that sense of belonging that people have. They feel part of something bigger. They feel part of that community. And that's how building community can help increase the sense of belonging and therefore increase or decrease the number of sick days people take. That's just one of the benefits and one of the reasons we want to think about this. Obviously, I'm only sharing 4 with you, but there's so many reasons why we want to be promoting community and finding different ways to build it within our workplace culture. Here's another one. We know that engaged employees are 59% less likely to look for a job with a different organization in the next 12 months. This comes from a Gallup report from 2016. It's around retaining employees and how much does money matter. So this particular report looked at the impact of an increased salary and whether or not people would leave their current organization. And of course, this report is from 2016. There's been some time between then and now. However, the big point here is that there are other factors besides money and compensation that drive retention. One of the factors that this report found was employee engagement. Building community engages employees. When people feel part of something bigger, they feel more connected to your organization and they feel more engaged. They want to do more work for you, with you, and they're less likely to leave. In fact, they're 59% less likely to leave from their jobs within the next 12 months based off of the findings from this report. Again, the whole point of this weekly wisdom is to drive home how important and powerful building community can be. And sometimes it's something that people think of as fluff or as a nice to have. We're seeing increasingly, particularly as organizations go hybrid or remote, that building a clear and intentional commitment to community can be a powerful way to make sure your people stay and to make sure they stay doing great work, that they thrive. Speaking of thriving, here's another stat for you, and it's a little more recent. It comes from the Rekindling a Sense of Community at Work article from the Harvard Business Review. Let me make this big for you while we read it. When people had a sense of community at work, they were 58% more likely to thrive at work. Again, this is from a very recent research study that is detailed in more, that is offered in more detail in the Harvard Business Review article called Rekindling a Sense of Community. We can see that thriving at work also means being more productive at work. It also means being able to help your bottom line within the workplace, help you reach the goals that you have for revenue and profit. And that's something we can all agree is important, which is why it's yet another way that building community can help increase the bottom line. The last one I want to make sure we talk about is related to a study that was specifically about loneliness. So we see here that lonely employees have lower performance ratings from their supervisors. This is from a study that was conducted within the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania by Sigal Barsaid, the late professor and scholar who spent lots of her time thinking about loneliness at work and its impact on work productivity. Specifically, that research found that lonely employees have lower performance ratings. If we want to build community where if we want first to have a workforce that is productive, effective, we need to build community. And that building of community can help lessen the sense of loneliness people have. It can increase that sense of connectivity people have, that sense of belonging, and everything benefits. Everyone benefits. We have people who are thriving, feeling better. Everything goes much better. If you can't tell, I'm very passionate about this topic. The idea of engagement, employee engagement, and ensuring that people feel seen, heard, supported, engaged, connected, part of something bigger than themselves. That is literally what Seen at Work is all about. It's why I started the company, to help you create a more inclusive environment, because I think it helps everyone feel better, but also because the research points to how effective it can be at helping you drive greater revenue and greater profit. Let's go through those quickly one more time, and then I'll close out by showing you some of the things we can do to support you while you build community in your workplace. So again, we went through 4 different ways developing a community within your workplace can help drive your organization toward your goals. The first way that we talked about was the fact that a sense of belonging can lead to a 75% decrease in sick days. And we know that building community can help increase a sense of belonging. The next thing we talked about was how engaged employees are 59% less likely to look for a job with a different organization in the next 12 months. And We know that engaged employees can become more engaged. Everyone can become more engaged when they have more access to community within a workplace. We also know that when people had a sense of community at work, they were 58% more likely to thrive at work. And that lonelier employees were performing worse than their peers. And that is something that we want, obviously, to see less of. Now, I'm over time, my 10 minutes for this weekly wisdom. You can tell this topic is really something that I care deeply about. I want to tell you, though, about a couple of things that we can do to support you in this effort. Specifically, we have community building programs, our most popular of which is called Circles, where we help you pull together several small groups of employees across teams and over monthly sessions help them build community with each other. These are expertly facilitated monthly sessions over 6 or 12 months. They're designed to create a sense of professional development, a sense of belonging, a sense of inclusion, and they increase retention and employee engagement, which then leads to a lot of these other things we've seen in that research I've shared with you. You can learn more about it, cnetwork.com/circles. We also have several resources that you can dig into, and you can dig into working with us specifically through a consultation at cnetwork.com/consultation. And here are the resources that you can dig into to learn more about our work and to gain access to free resources on Instagram, on YouTube, on LinkedIn, and in our newsletter. We hope to see you engage in some of those different areas. And until next week, thank you for being here for this week's Weekly Wisdom.